The three mightiest men in the Bible, starting with Jesus, Moses, Elijah, all did 40 days. Actually, they were not the only ones, but that's what you have in the record. Enoch was also in that class and so on. But Moses was an exception between the three. What made him different is that the other ones were drinking water. He was the one that did that without drinking water. So I want to comment on that. Because I've seen people who will go presumptuously and say, after all, Moses did 40 days not drinking water. If you study the Bible, I have read it from page to page, back, page to page, back, page to page, back, line to line, back. The highest number people go without water in the Bible is 3 days. Most fasts that are dry fasts are 1 day fast. Longest is 3. An example is Esther. But one person broke the rule. His name is Moses. He went that long without water. He wasn't the only one. Enoch also broke that rule, but you don't have the Enoch record in the Bible, so it's in his book. I don't want to discuss that, but I went there. He was taken to heaven. Before he finally went to heaven permanently, he used to have that excursion. You heard Paul say, I know a man in Christ, whether in the body or out of the body, was caught up to the third heaven. Enoch was one of such men. So, and his body could survive for the number of days. One time he stayed 30 days. When he came back, they also tried to get him to eat. For the next 30 days, he wasn't interested in food. Moses, on the other hand, was not taken to heaven. Heaven came down to earth and was on Mount Sinai. God moved from where he used to live to Mount Sinai and was sitting on top of that mountain. I said this somewhere, and somebody asked me, you mean God can travel and leave his throne? I said, don't you see president of countries travel? Wherever he is, government is still running. He owns the universe. I said, there are many cases of that in the Bible. In the book of Ezekiel, Ezekiel saw a wild wind coming from the north. You can check it in chapter 1. It's recorded about 3 times. A wild wind coming from the north. Meanwhile, that's where God lives anyway. And when he was observing as he came closer, and he saw that it was actually God traveling through space. And he watched to see whether he was standing or sitting. He was seated down. So this issue of, you see some people carry a king while he's seated, and they carry him, maybe 4 men or whatever, and they are moving. It's not human beings that invented. That's how God moves. He sits down because his throne flies. It has rings and white. So the guy now looked close to see who are the people carrying the throne. He saw they were cherubims. Maybe you should be showing them what I'm saying. Yeah. So first of all, go back to where you said he saw, before the face of a man, where he saw this wind, a wild wind. So next time you see all these tornadoes that destroy, they are spirit beings traveling like that. That's how they travel. All these winds that move in circle, they are spirit beings. And it's not only like angelic being or God, demonic powers also travel like that. Yeah. One time I was in a place and one of those type of wind was coming and I was causing a lot of problems. And it was coming in my direction. And the Lord said, speak to the man in the center. Tell him to leave. And the wind dropped there like a cloth and vanished. Yeah. The spirit beings. Whenever you see wild wind, it's secular winds. Either cyclone, tornado, whatever. That's one of the ways God travels. But now as he was going, fire was unfolding and the brightness was about it. Out of the mist thereof, a color of amber and the mist of... This is Ezekiel. Okay, go on, verse 5. Also, out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. You see the people who now carry this thing. So when Moses was told to build the tabernacle and all that, he was told to design the ark with 2 pillars. It will come out on this end. The ark is the throne. The ark is where God sits. On top of the ark is mercy seat. So that's the throne of God. That's where you see Shekinah in that Holy of Holies. It has poles. On this end, it comes out. On this end, it comes out. On the other end, it comes out. So 4 priests carry it on their shoulders. They are trying to copy how cherubs carry the throne when God needs to move. 4 priests do it on earth, but 4 angelic priests do it in heaven. So those are the ones that have all those 6 wings, yeah. And Ezekiel then looked close to see that it's not just ordinary wind, that there are creatures inside the wind. He saw 4 living creatures. This was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. Go on, yeah. You know they have 4 faces. He's just describing. Everyone had 4 faces. Everyone had 4 wings. And their feet were straight feet. And the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf. They sparkle like the color of burnished brass. That's fire. Anyway, go on. Yeah, verse 7. And they had the hands of man under their wings on the 4 sides. And they had their faces and their wings. Their wings were joined to one another, and they turned not when they went. They went, everyone straight forward. That's why you have to have face in the 4 direction. When you need to move not, you just move. You don't need to turn. And they have eyes everywhere. They go straight. Okay, yes, verse. As for the likeness of their faces, you know, face of a man, face of a lion, the 4 faces on the right side, face of an oxen, that's a cow. And then face of an eagle, that's the real face of a cherub. The real face of a cherub is the eagle. But of course, as a spirit being, they have the face of a man, then they have the face of a lion, they have the face of an oxen. Talking about the 4 dimensions of God, 4 revelations of God. Anyway, another time. Verse 11. So their faces and their wings were stretched upward. Okay, their wings went upward. Okay, 2 wings of everyone were joined one to the other, and 2 covered their bodies. Okay, verse 12. And they went everyone straight forward, whither the Spirit was to go. So, the spirit of the living creature makes a decision, like how your spirit decides where you want to go. You just start moving. They don't turn. And they went, and they turned not when they went. Verse 13. As for the likeness of the living creature, okay, we've been discussing the living creature. But it's also important for you to know that they are like burning coals of fire. Like the appearance of lamps of fire. And even from their fire, lightnings go out. Some of the things we call natural phenomena, we don't know their sources. But let's just go, verse 14. The living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. So they travel at the speed of thought. Next in their back, next, you know. Now as I beheld the living creature, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creature with their 4 faces. 15. The appearance of the wheels and their walk was like unto the color of... So now, this is a flying whatever that lifts the throne. Now, Victor, there's one you stepped on that carried you up. There is that one. There's one my brother stepped on again that they used to transport him. There is that one. There are flying horses. There is that one. There are different things, technology with which they travel through space. And they can go around. All these things they're talking about, aircraft made by men. I'm talking about spacecraft. They would take light years to go. These people go across the universe and they are back. Just like this. That kind of speed, we don't have language to describe it. That's why when you pray, like I'm going to pray this night now, the angels here, but if there is need for something to be brought from heaven, it's just before your words have finished on your mind, they are here. They don't travel like you're going to Lagos. If not, we'll be dead before they get here. The Bible says God is the ever-present help in the time of need. It's only when they want to show you something, they slow down speed so you can see. They've taken me on this journey before, so I know exactly what goes on there. Now, their appearance, their work was that it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. This Ezekiel technology, we don't have aircraft, we don't have cars, and he's describing something, a flying saucer. That's the language he used. Because if something is turning, even the tire of a car, and you tell a prophet of that time to look at a tire in motion, and the way it's moving, how do you describe that? Talk less of aircraft or whatever. Aircraft, you can say, like Isaiah in chapter 6, they called it an eagle. There are two places aircraft was predicted in the Bible that in the time of the New Testament church, we will need it to travel across country. Isaiah 6, they predicted that. And if you go there, he said, these are eagles with windows. And they carry people across the ice, crossing oceans. Yes. Satellites were predicted that will help bear the gospel. Anyway, 17. Okay, I think I need to... Even these rings were full of eyes round about them. The living creatures full of eyes. Now let's go to in the middle, in the center. They now saw God right in the center. So these things are moving up and down and they are carrying somebody. They're carrying somebody. The man that made the universe. Maybe you think God just sits down in one place. He travels. Oh, yes. He came to Mount Sinai. And he traveled with heavy escorts, angelic escorts, of different ranks. Jesus is going to be coming back with one of those means, his flying horses that he's going to ride when he comes, with heavy escorts of what will happen to the devil, Antichrist, and others. They won't recover for eternity. Okay, go to that place where in the midst of that four living creature, he now saw the throne, yeah? And above, there was a firmament in verse 26. Let's start from 25. And there was a voice from the firmament that was over their heads. And when they stood, they had led that. God Almighty now is about to talk to Ezekiel, but now watch verse 26. And there was a firmament that was over their head, that was the likeness of a throne, and the appearance of sapphire stone. And upon that, the likeness of the throne, in that throne was the likeness of the appearance of a man. You see, when he said he made us is an image, is true. God doesn't look like monkey or cows. You are his image. If you're still doubting that, check the one that came here, God in the flesh, how he came. And that's how he is. Anybody that has seen Jesus still knows. Just in a glorified form. The likeness of a man. Above it, he was the one All this travel, that's the king that they were carrying. This is the ruler of the universe. Some of you think the earth was made by Big Bang. Verse 27. And I saw as the color of amber, as the appearance of fire round about within it, and for the appearance of his loins. He's looking at his waist. God permits sometimes. His loins even upward. And from the appearance of, you can't look at the face. And the appearance of his loin even downward. I saw as it were the appearance of fire, and he had, when they say God dwells in unapproachable, or our God is a consuming fire, it's no figure of speech. Read what happened to Mount Sinai when he descended there. And they had brightness round about it. You see, that's why we're talking about the third dimension of ministry. When we start approaching this dimension to carry the glory, there's nothing called sickness. Even death can't stand here. Don't tell me the man has been dead for 4 days. All those putrefied flesh that is waking will constitute back. Verse 28. And as the appearance of the bow, this is rainbow now, because he always has that, a reminder that is in the cloud in the day of rain. So was the appearance of the brightness round about, and this was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of the Lord. And when I saw it, what happened? So all these people that have encounter and they are smiling and drinking tea while they have it. Anytime you see all these American liars, tell them to go. Stop reading such stories. Nobody ever sees that and start. John said, this is John, Revelation 1. The one that used to lie at the bosom of Christ when he was. The apostle whom Jesus loved. How can you meet your friend and collapse? He said, when I saw him, I fell like a dead man. Enoch, check his book. When they brought him there, he collapsed. Not prostrated. They had to send some angels to come and revive him there. If I have not been brought there, I won't know. Let me even tell you. You may have heard me talk about this. When they were trying to do a heavenly ordination for me, they brought 2 types of mantles. I didn't even know there were such things. And there are some things that will happen to people this night. Maybe I should. Let me be sure I'm supposed to talk about this. You see these things, they are garments. People wear them. It turns you into another thing. So they asked the angel to bring it too. He put one on me. I was covered with smoke and cloud. But it gives peace, it's serene, it's beautiful, it's the presence of God. And then inside it, once it's on me, I'm able to do all kinds of, I can see things, I hear things, I know things. And healings were happening like no man's business. And they were educating me on how the healing ministry works. There's a school of the spirit. It's not theoretical school, it's real. That's how most of these prophets were groomed that you're reading about in the Bible. You've read about Hagin. 9 visitations that schooled him. And we are now reading his book. It's not theory, it's real. So you see, that's why even now, you see, one time, COVID, I was telling you, don't copy me. When I minister, you see me, I do this. I'm under. So, but the same thing is now available to everybody. So, what else? Then, when we finish all of that, they now brought the second one. When they put it on me, I don't know how to put that. The only thing I can describe is like you are set on fire. So if they pour fuel, you are set you on fire. I said, what? I felt I was screaming at the top of my head. I said, please, I don't want this. I cannot. He said, but human beings like you wore it and operated on earth. I cried until they lifted it from me. I said, please give me the other one. That's the one I like. He said, your job in the last days requires this. I'll tell you a few things tonight. He said, you walk with this, but you need to walk. God's glory has two appearances. There's pillar of cloud, but there's pillar of fire. There's pillar of fire. The power of that one, that was second one, I don't know how many times the power of the other one. They describe the power, what is able to do. Human beings talk, nature responds. Nature, all these forces, all these things can be bent by words, can be melted with words. All these things you call nature are nothing. A human being can start an earthquake in Port Harcourt with words. You see, Moses took non-living things, sand, threw it up, they became flies. Is that not what God was doing at creation? How did you get to this point? Moses. They mentioned to me men that operated at this level, that wore that thing and they were normal. Because they were talking about the power it gives you now. You can represent God, operate as a God in the system. I said, what? So I said, what is wrong? After they removed it too, because I couldn't communicate, I was shouting, because I was burning. Now when they removed that, and I said, so if that is possible for a human being to be wearing that, and the person is not an angel yet, because that's how these angels are. What is wrong with me? He said the body. The sin. It's the flesh. Part of what fasting helps to clean out. But consecration. Sin. I cried so much. And I got some schooling. I said, okay, give me some time first.